Hi, you're watching West Bloomfield 911. I'm Officer David McNealy, and on behalf of Chief Michael Patton and my Deputy Chief Kurt Lawson and my brothers and sisters in blue, I'd like to welcome you all to the show. This is my partner,
Zena, Dailey.
Guys, I'd also like to welcome Michael Zerkel and Emma Zerkel. Thanks for coming on the show, guys.
Emma.
Thank you for having us.
You guys hang tight with us for a second while I flip the show over to Zena's Daily on a Daily.
Hello, West Bloomfield. Welcome to Daily on the Daily. Let's start with Ask a Cop a Question. This question comes from Alex in West Bloomfield. Alex asks, why do cops love donuts? Well, it's believed that sometime around the 1950s, probably way before that, people started noticing police officers were frequenting donut shops and diners because they were open late. Most establishments closed fairly early in the evening and stayed closed all night, so for the cops working the late shifts, they didn't have any place to grab a snack or a decent cup of coffee. So you'd find them at the donut shops. Now, although there are 24-hour diners, cops are usually looking for something quick in case they get dispatched to a run. Most cops these days do actually eat healthier and only indulge in a donut every now and then. But of course, who doesn't love a donut, right? I love chocolate glazed donuts. So be like Alex, like us on Facebook, throw a question up there for us, and we'll try to get that answered for you as well. Moving on today, we're going to talk about getting a CPL and or an LTP. Residents usually come to the police department seeking concealed pistol license applications. Those are also known as CPLs, and or getting the license to purchase permit known as an LTP. CPL packets are available at the lobby window at the police department. It can also be obtained at the michigan.gov website. The concealed pistol application kit includes the following: written information regarding the procedures involving obtaining a CPL, the CPL application, and written information identifying entities that offer the required CPL training if maintained by the county clerk. You must file the application with the county clerk in the county in which you reside. The application shall be signed under oath by the applicant, and the oath is administered by the county clerk or someone to represent them. Your application should include the following: the certificate from the CPL training course that you are required to take, a passport photo, a $100 fee at the time of the application, and you must have your fingerprints taken and provide the receipt for the service. The entity completing the fingerprint service will then forward the prints to MSP for processing, and the county clerk shall issue a license or notice of statutory disqualification within 45 days after the date the application has classifiable fingerprints taken. West Bloomfield Parks and Recs actually offers several different CPL courses. So if you haven't already had them or looked into them, there is the Basic CPL course, Advanced CPL, and Advanced Decision Making for CPL courses. You can check those out on the West Bloomfield Parks and Rec website to find out more information about that and when they're being offered. Those courses are typically offered in the summer months. I'm sorry, not in the summer months. So just be aware of that. To obtain a license to purchase permit, you must come to the police department and pick up an application. Once it's completed, our public service aides will check you through various law enforcement sources. If they find that there are no restrictions or issues through those sources, you can receive your license to purchase right then and there, so it's pretty quick. If there are any issues with the record, then the application will be reviewed by administrators before you actually get approved or denied. If you are approved, you will receive a notarized permit. Once you receive the LTP, you have 30 days to make your purchase. After your purchase, you have 10 days to return the permit to the police department. If you don't, there actually can be a fine. If you have any questions about this procedure or these policies and procedures, please contact the police department and talk to one of our public service aides. You can also come in and talk to them. They'll be happy to answer any of your questions. That is your Daily on the Daily. Dave?
Thanks, Zena. This is a lot of great information for our
Thank
viewers.
you.
I'm sure they appreciate it. So, listen, the Zerkels, we're going to ask you guys to hang tight with us for a minute while we take a short station break. Folks, we'll be right back.
You're watching West Bloomfield 911 on Civic Center TV, a service of the Greater West Bloomfield Cable Communications Commission. For more information or to watch episodes on demand, visit civiccentertv.com/WB911. Civic Center TV, television that's close to home.
The West Bloomfield Police Foundation raises money to help those who protect and serve the community. Whether it's emotional or financial support, the foundation provides a helping hand to officers, their families, and those in the community. For more information on the West Bloomfield Police Foundation, contact Kurt Lawson at 248-975-8900 or visit wbpolicefoundation.org.
Welcome back. I'm David McNealy.
I'm Zena Dailey.
Guys, want to welcome back Michael Zerkel and Emma Zerkel.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
You know what? So, you guys, I'm just going to tell you guys. Z, did I tell you off air how I met
think
these
you did.
met these guys? Well, just so our viewers know, it's not very often. You do see I'm in uniform, right? You're in a
Right.
uniform. It's not very often that somebody kind of comes up to you and challenges
Tries
you.
to call you out, huh?
And it's usually a bad day if someone does come up to you and challenge you in uniform. So I'm at the West Bloomfield Fine Art Show over, while it was going on, and a person walked up to me. That was you. You want to tell our viewers what our exchange was?
Well, I saw that you were handing out promotional products, trying to improve your community relations and with the local children and
Which
families.
we often do.
Yes.
We'll try.
Very important part of.
Yeah, it's outreach. It's a good
Exactly.
opportunity, and I know Michael was there with you too at the Fine Art Show.
I just happened to ask if you had them made by a local company.
Guys, I'll tell you, I'm very not often, taken aback and caught off guard, but kind of caught me off guard. Go on.
We think that it's very important that our local municipalities support the community
Sure.
in which they reside. So I do check when we go places such as the police, whether they're working with the
And
people
so you
around
guys
us.
are local entrepreneurs for our
Yes, we
viewers,
are.
right? So you were confronting the officer, right?
I tried to be respectful
Oh
about
no,
it.
you were very respectful. I was like, oh my goodness. I couldn't.
More questioning
Sure.
than confronting.
But I thought at that point, Michael had come up beside you, and we exchanged business cards. And folks, I got to tell you, Z, I was sort of impressed that they had enough fortitude. You guys get that? Enough fortitude to come up and talk to me. And it was for somebody like me, it interests me, and so I wanted to know more about you guys. And we end up making an appointment.
Yes, we did.
Yep. We came in to tell you. Actually, you came out to us,
Yes.
which was great, and we could show you around our shop, show you.
There's something significant. I think
What is your shop?
So we are all USA clothing, as worn by my husband, the Billboard, and and
Michael, did you know you were a billboard?
Apparently,
You look like a
that's-
nice
Surprise.
billboard.
That's what I am today.
and we have an online clothing store that's part of our family business.
Wow. Now how
And-
far does that go?
And part of the business, everything is only American made.
Okay.
And that
Okay.
was one of the things that Emma was looking for when she met you, was where were your products that
Okay.
you were handing out made? And
You said it's a family business.
Yeah.
yes.
How did that start, and what's the lineage behind that?
The family business started around 1970. My father was a clothing rep and sold men's clothing. And in those years, the majority of the clothing that was made was American made.
Okay.
And over the years, that started to become less and less. And when that happened, he changed businesses and went into the ad specialty and promotion business, doing cups and mugs and apparel, and focused on American made, selling to the unions as well as Ford and Chrysler and General Motors. And so I grew up in the apparel industry,
Right.
and
Specifically, the decorated apparel industry, as opposed to the fashion industry.
But you guys
Right.
didn't always do this, right? You did something different, and you did something different, and eventually there was some life changes that brought you, to be the billboard that you are today, right?
yes, I'm an attorney by trade,
Okay.
and I practiced for about 7 years in the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office, as well as personal injury and bankruptcy. And Emma is a school teacher by trade, middle school math and science.
How did you guys meet?
I picked him up in a bar.
Oh,
Yes. Yes.
Which
Okay.
is really, if you knew us, especially back then, it was not my style. We weren't really big bar people,
Okay.
but a group of my friends were brought together with a group of his friends, and
The magic just happened.
magic happened. It
Yes.
was his birthday when we
well,
met.
how did this magic happen when I find out that you went to Michigan and he went to Michigan State? That's a house divided.
It
y'all
is
know
a
that's
house divided.
How did this magic happen?
Well, we were kind of the oddballs when we were there because my friends who I were with were basically U of M law students, and I was a Michigan State law
Oh
student.
boy. Okay.
And her friends were Michigan social workers, and she was already a teacher, so we were kind of the odd people out and somehow sat across from one another. And
Actually, he had one of those incredibly thick wallets. Like, there was so much in his wallet.
Well, that could be good. That means it's full of money.
It's full of money.
That means it's full of money.
And
That's
buying
good.
drinks.
I clearly
not as a law student.
I clearly must have had a huge crush on him already right at then, because I was like, oh, let me go through and see what could possibly be in this wallet, which is so unbelievably ballsy. But I guess it might not surprise you now,
Yeah.
based on how we
Right.
met.
As I'm a product of West Bloomfield, attending West Bloomfield High School, she found my West Bloomfield thespian card.
Oh.
and
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Saw
And
that.
again, a house divided. I went to Southfield Lathrop, and I found I had been a thespian as well.
Wow.
And so I was like, I don't know, is he kind of cool because he did theater when I did theater, or
Right.
is he kind of dorky because he's already graduated college and he's still carrying around his high school thespian card? I decided either way, I was definitely intrigued, but
That's cool. So, but you
Yeah.
guys went through some, and when you guys connected, and obviously you got married and everything else. Your careers took different paths, and your life. You guys had some life experience that took you down some different roads. You were a prosecutor, like you said, an attorney.
Yeah.
And so some things happened in the fields that you were in both particular fields. Why don't you tell our viewers about that?
When I graduated law school and went into private practice in personal injury, tort reform came down at that time, limiting premises liability. And so I decided to change areas of law at that point and went into bankruptcy. I worked for the UAW in those years, and then went out into private practice. And after practicing for about 5 years, bankruptcy reform came down as well.
Right.
So it seems that whatever
So the
area of
career
law I'm
paths you
in,
picked, we spoke
yes,
off air
reform
about
comes
this.
through.
Right.
And it was just so happened that that same time my father wanted to start retiring and asked if I would come into the family business. And that was in 2006. The auto industry was starting to slow down because of the bankruptcy in 2008. And we had partnered in Carhartt at that time, who wanted us to do an American-made website for their American-made line.
Nice.
And that's how All USA Clothing was born.
Were you
So he
teaching
was
at that time?
Oh, yeah, I'm
sorry.
David.
Were you teaching? Sorry about that.
so I had actually stopped teaching in 2001 when our son was born.
Okay.
I had planned to take 2 years off at that point, but raising him required a lot more time.
And did you jump into the business at that time, and you were probably happy that that allowed you to have that freedom, right?
Yep, I had already actually been doing a little bit of work for his parents ahead of time. I started working for his parents actually before we even got married. So I think I was trying to guarantee my way into the family there. And
Smart. Yeah, good moves.
It's that wallet. It's the thick wallet.
Thick wallet,
Yes.
you know. I'm going to come across as a great big gold digger.
Well, my mother did try to scare her off.
She did.
When
It
the
didn't work
first,
this season.
No,
well,
first-
I knew when I met her that the night I came home and I told my family, who happened to be there, that I met the girl I was going to marry. When my mother met her, she kind of had that feeling, so immediately took her to her best friend's house to try to scare her away, but it didn't work.
Oh, that's funny. That's so funny. That's awesome, guys.
You know, I was going to ask Michael. So your dad's company, was it actually a separate company than when you actually started All USA Clothing, or is it kind of a part of it?
It's just a part of it.
Okay.
It's just a separate DBA of the same corporation.
All USA Clothing is really the online profile
Okay.
for our business. It's when you work online, you need to have a little bit more catchy of a
Right.
name. So All USA Clothing makes it very clear what we do.
And then you guys end up building on that?
Yeah, but we opened, when we started All USA Clothing, we opened that up to the country. It wasn't my father's company, who is limited to local.
Right.
We opened it up to everybody. So we do jobs for the national parks, for the White House, for municipalities all over the country,
people
and
that do
private
business with you guys?
organizations.
And do you find that, because you'll see stickers on cars and things like that about products and things like that. Do you find that people will gravitate to you for that purpose? For your product being all USA?
Yes.
For American Made, absolutely. That has been one of, that's what sets us apart from buying from any one of the millions of people that are selling decorated T-shirts and decorated.
And you guys are
and
local.
stickers.
Where's your business?
Oh, we're in Keego Harbor.
Okay.
We're right on Orchard Lake Road, opposite from the West Bloomfield Police Station.
And there's some other things that you offer besides clothing, right?
So we do own our own embroidery facility that is in Taylor, and a screen printing facility in Allen Park, as well as Emma owns a trophy shop, which is located next door to All USA Clothing in Keego Harbor.
So continuing along the lines of family-owned businesses,
Yeah.
my partner Stacy, we met up and became partners because her husband's family owns the building and the alarm company that the building's in. And the trophy shop that was there he was ready to just close up shop and literally had hired a dumpster, throw it
Oh, my
away.
goodness.
And we said, well, but this is a great business. And
Right.
so
Sometimes that's the right season. You find like
Yeah.
it's a right season. You know what? If you don't mind me, you spoke about your son needing some extra. Can we, if you feel comfortable,
Sure.
can we talk about that?
I'm
Because I
actually
think that's
incredibly
important.
proud of it. I am incredibly proud of our son. He was diagnosed at 2 with sensory integration dysfunction, and
What does that mean?
which means that the sensory system is essentially it's out of whack, and either input is felt too strongly or it's felt not enough. So, for example, we couldn't take him into birthday parties. He didn't come into family dinner until he was about 6 or 7.
Just because it was too
It
overwhelming.
was too
with all the
overwhelming. The
noise.
smells and the noise, he couldn't tolerate it.
Wow.
Or he couldn't feel enough. When he was little, he leaned up against a hot motorcycle, had 2nd and 3rd degree burns, and didn't cry.
Wow.
So I had to take time off because we had to spend time doing intense therapy with him. Everything became a therapeutic moment. Subsequently, we noticed the social deficits as well, and he's been diagnosed with autism. But he is 16 years old. He is driving a car.
Awesome.
On Halloween,
Awesome.
he had a party with 8 kids at our house.
That's
That
great.
was 8 typical kids hanging out, and so he's come a long way. And
And that's why I fell in love with these guys even after I was confronted, because you know what, the timing and the season of you guys' life. There's, even with your career changes and everything else, to shift and to have the opportunity and fortune to be able to have your own business and be able to deal with the challenges that you were given, that your son was given. That's pretty cool, man. And I just thought this would resonate with our viewers. And
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's pretty cool stuff. So he had his big Halloween celebration,
he
and
did, and that was for a parent with. I think that for a parent or parents of a child with autism, for them to have friends,
Yes.
that is amazing. I think that I have learned from both of my kids that the greatest thing you can hope for your children is that they're happy,
Of course.
right?
Yeah.
You want them to be healthy. You want them to be successful. But to see them happy means that those other things aren't negative aspects of their lives.
Right. And of course, having friends just has to make you feel so good. He's not lonely when he's at school or when he's doing, he's out doing stuff. Yeah.
Just watch every step that we went through. I would always ask every therapist, where do you think he'll be? Do you think
Yeah.
he'll go to kindergarten? Do you think he'll drive a car? Do you think he'll be able to have a job? Do you think? And they always said, well, we don't have a crystal ball.
Right.
But seeing through the years the changes and seeing him meet those milestones and really becoming, if you meet him today, you don't see that autism.
What we say is, Ian, you're a pretty typical kid, and that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
to
great.
be
So-
typical for him is
So
really
how many children
Yeah.
do you guys have?
So we have two. We also have an amazingly wonderful daughter.
Okay.
She is 14.
What's her name?
Her name's Leah.
Okay.
She's a freshman in high school and loving every minute of high school life.
That's awesome.
Did they either one of them get a chance to come in and help you guys at the shop?
Yes, they do.
Leah, but
Get
in
those
fact-
life lessons, right?
You got to earn it, right?
Very
So-
difficult.
There's some
having
free
your
labor.
kids
Should we
try
look into these
working
guys?
for
It
you.
sounds like there's some
No,
free
no,
labor
we
going
have-
on.
No. We work in trade. My daughter wanted me to make her a phone case. So I needed trophies built. So she built the
There you
trophies
go.
and I made her the phone
fair
case.
enough.
Yes.
And
Fair enough.
Ian had his first real job this summer. I think he worked more hours than most of his friends because he worked most days 9 to 5.
And did receive a paycheck.
And yes,
Very
so
nice.
it was no free labor. It was torture for all of us. And we will be looking for other employment. But he learned those soft skills about you need to show up on time, you need to
Yeah.
do your best even when you don't like the job.
And especially when you're working for your parents, so you don't
Yes.
you don't
Much
have to be cutting
harder.
slack.
Yep.
That's the hard,
Oh
probably
yeah,
the hardest
no,
part,
there was
right?
no being nice to him.
I will
Right.
say I happened to be present when I saw the boss laying down the hammer. I was like, wow. I said, I'm impressed with these guys. I said, they're not, cutting any corners, even with their own children. They expect a good product and stuff. And again, I can't tell you guys how amazing I think your story is because of all the dynamics of it. And, you guys basically walking away from your professional and educational careers.
Which I feel like can be kind of a scary thing.
I was just
going
going to
into
say
a business.
it's very,
Chasing a dream,
50-50
and-
chance when you first get in there, like what's going to happen?
right. There's safety in working for somebody else
Right.
and not worrying about you worry that
You
you're
know a
gonna
paycheck's coming.
right, exactly.
Right.
When it's your own business, it's a lot scarier because not only are we responsible for our own salaries, but we've been lucky enough to grow and we now have multiple people working for us. So I need to make sure that
So
They're
you're a
big
local,
in there,
you're
yeah.
a local business, and you're even, you're employing people, which is awesome. It's like the
Yes.
American dream. It's
I mean, we started working in our office at home, and then we hired somebody, and it was too crowded in our office, so we moved to the basement. And when we had 3 people showing up to work in my basement, plus my children and my dog, and the
yada
I
yada
said
yada.
to Michael, I'm like,
Yeah.
we gotta get out of here.
Right.
We have to move out of here. So our
At
first
what point were
Yeah.
you able to leave the home and get to work or get into an office where you guys can actually do this while taking care of your son? Like how, what point did that happen?
That's really part of why we moved home. Initially, when we started All USA Clothing, we were at our facility in Taylor.
Okay.
And with him, it was driving the 45, 50 minutes each way
Right.
and needing to take care of him as well as our daughter. It was proving to
Tough,
be too
right.
difficult.
For sure.
So that's when we moved back home, and really wasn't until we got him into preschool and had already been doing therapy. And Ian started preschool much earlier than normal kids. He started at
public schools. He was on a school bus going to school at 3 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Put him on a school
So
bus. So
that was giving us some time
Yes.
at that point to think about moving into an office close by, so that one of us needed to be home for him or our daughter. We could.
Can be, right.
Right.
That makes sense.
because our daughter, she's a dancer, and it seems like there's
Supply
always
your time.
always time to be driving her.
Yeah.
There's a recital down the road.
Always, there's always a
Yes.
recital. There's
Been
always
there,
a
been there,
competition.
done
Yeah.
that.
Right.
In
Yes.
costumes that.
But now we have an extra driver. We have a chauffeur.
Nice.
Yes, we call him our 16-year-old son.
Yes, and that's a great milestone too. Like, hey, go get
Oh
us a
my
pizza.
gosh, it is
Drive
so
us, sir.
liberating.
Yeah.
But
Go
I
get
did
us a
walk
pizza.
into a room, and one closet is now only her dance costumes from
gosh.
every year.
Been there,
Oh,
done that
God.
too.
It's really something.
So you guys also volunteer and do some other philanthropic things. What you guys are a part of some organizations?
So in the past, we've done volunteering with Friendship Circle, where we started a couple of programs that I thought would benefit, selfishly would benefit my son.
Okay,
And
that's okay.
and
That's
That's
okay.
awesome. I just
Right. We've all
recently learned a
done
lot
that.
about the Friendship Circle and what's the one that just opened up on Drake? I'm sorry, the name.
Soul Center.
Soul
Soul
Center.
Center.
Yes, I'm sorry. Just
So-
but I've learned so much about those.
Yep,
That's awesome.
so we spent time with them. Now we're volunteering with West Bloomfield Youth Association,
Okay.
which I'm sure is dear to your hearts.
Yep.
And this past weekend, Michael and I got to be trick or treat ombudsman. That's the word I'm looking for. And dressed up as bacon and eggs, along with other board members, and
I was
handed
the
out
hit as bacon.
exactly, and handed out candy at the West Bloomfield trick or treat,
And had,
So that-
had a fantastic
which was
time.
wonderful. Getting to be able to.
So tell me about your experiences though, because and that's okay, because I think every parent, all of us parents, are going to feel you. You know, how did that change you because of your son's condition? Working at Friendship Circle, how did that change you?
Well, I actually, not so long ago, finished my graduate degree in autistic studies.
Okay.
Awesome.
So that really inspired me. And I learned a lot there, I would say. I learned a lot of patience
Okay.
and a lot of joy. He now goes to AIM High School, which is a private school in
Okay.
Farmington Hills.
Okay.
And their focus is on students on the autistic spectrum or with emotional impairments that are academically capable but just have a hard time fitting in the public school setting. And it's been incredible. And so we spend a lot of time with these kids, and there's just pride in seeing the little things for them to do the typical things, how much harder they work for it. They're in a school band and they're a cover band and they go and they play at
great.
restaurants and things, and the pride to be able to stand there and watch them do that.
You know, guys, that's why I wanted to have you guys come on, because I think your story, you're all USA, but it's also all American. So I would just thank you guys for coming on and sharing your story. We're going to wrap the show up, you guys, and thanks again for coming on.
Thank you for
That's
having
going
us.
to do it for us, you guys. You can keep up with the police department by liking us on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and you can also sign up for Nexel.com, crimemapping.com for the most up-to-date information regarding the police department. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.